taking notes because many of us are still trying to figure out what Nike is doing, or maybe
Nike, are you taking notes? Because many of us are still trying to figure out what Nike is doing, or perhaps more accurately, what Nike is not doing. Remember when Nike's slogan was, "Just do it"? Well, Nike just did it again for the wrong reasons. For a brand that built its empire on iconic athletes, you'd think they'd know how to handle a generational talent like Caitlin Clark. Instead of giving her the star treatment she's earned, Nike has, once again, sidelined her in favor of other players. Caitlin Clark isn't just the WNBA's Rookie of the Year, she's the most marketable basketball player today, period. From breaking records on the court to drawing packed arenas and skyrocketing viewership, she's proven herself to be a once-in-a-generation talent. And yet, Nike's response has been shockingly underwhelming, a glaring lack of promotion, delayed launches, and missed opportunities. Nike has Caitlin Clark under contract, yet they're not utilizing her properly. Instead, they're acting like many people in the WNBA who simply don't get it, those who want to keep Caitlin in her place and do things the traditional way. In this video, we're diving into how Nike has continuously disrespected Caitlin Clark, how they've failed to capitalize on her marketability, and the growing frustration from fans who feel she deserves so much better. Along the way, we'll highlight how other brands are doing it right and why Nike's lack of action could cost them dearly. In the beginning, it could have been Adidas, not Nike. In fact, Caitlin herself once admitted she never wore Nike shoes until she signed her Nike deal. All through college, she wore Converse, and her favorite shoe brand before Nike was actually a different one. Nike's empire has been built on iconic athletes, from Michael Jordan in basketball to Serena Williams in tennis, and yet they seem to be fumbling Caitlin's story completely. When Nike partnered with legends like Lisa Leslie and Cynthia Cooper during the early stages of the WNBA, it seemed like they truly understood the importance of promoting women's basketball. Nike's campaigns elevated athletes into icons, creating cultural moments and amplifying stories that resonated across the globe. Fast forward to today, and it's a different story. Despite Caitlin Clark being arguably the biggest name in basketball right now, Nike has been conspicuously quiet. Fans were expecting bold campaigns, innovative merchandise, and an aggressive marketing strategy to elevate her to the status of icons like Jordan, Bryant, or Serena Williams. Yet, the brand has barely acknowledged her dominance, with a few lukewarm promotions and forgettable ads celebrating her Rookie of the Year honor. Her influence isn't just on the court, it's transcended basketball itself. She's breaking records, filling arenas, and leading the charge for women's sports visibility. And yet, Nike's approach feels disconnected from the energy Caitlin has created. Nike signed Caitlin Clark to an 8-year, $28 million endorsement deal, yet they seem to be doing little with it. This is a brand that redefined sports marketing through their campaigns. So how could they possibly ignore an athlete who could bring in so much attention, merchandise sales, and new fans? Nike's decision not to capitalize on Caitlin's star power feels like a failure to recognize the shift in basketball culture. While fans expected Nike to jump on the opportunity to market Caitlin as their next big star, Nike has instead chosen to delay, undercut, and mishandle every opportunity. Caitlin Clark is the kind of player who doesn't come around often. In her rookie season, she shattered records, dominated on the court, and brought in new audiences for women's basketball. Her ability to connect with fans is unmatched, and she's a magnetic figure, drawing attention both on and off the court. She's not just another athlete, she's a phenomenon. From her record-breaking performances to her impact on social media, Caitlin Clark is single-handedly reshaping the landscape of women's sports. And yet, Nike's response has been so underwhelming, it feels almost like a slap in the face. Just when it seemed like things couldn't get worse, Nike made a shocking decision. Enter Paige Beckers, a phenomenal athlete in her own right. Paige has already made a name for herself in college basketball. However, Nike has announced the release of Paige's signature shoe before Caitlin Clark's. Let that sink in for a moment. Caitlin Clark is already the most marketable player in women's basketball, and yet Nike has chosen to prioritize a college player who hasn't even entered the league yet. This isn't just a minor misstep, it's a full-blown fumble. Caitlin Clark's impact on the WNBA is undeniable. She's filling arenas, breaking records, and generating immense buzz around the sport. Yet Nike is turning their attention to a player who is still in college. This decision only adds to the frustration fans are feeling, and it's clear that Nike has completely missed the mark with their priorities. In the world of sports marketing, when you have a generational talent like Caitlin Clark, you build your strategy around her. Instead, Nike is choosing to gamble on Paige Bueckers, who, while talented, hasn't proven herself in the same way Caitlin has. The fallout from this decision has been swift and loud. Social media has erupted with backlash, and fans are questioning Nike's ability to understand what their audience wants. Hashtags like #JusticeForCaitlin Clark are gaining traction, and people are openly wondering if Nike even understands what is happening in the world of women's basketball. As other brands step up to capitalize on Caitlin's popularity, Nike seems to be asleep at the wheel. One of their biggest opportunities is slipping through their fingers. While Nike has failed to support Caitlin Clark, other brands have been getting it right. Take State Farm, for example. Their recent campaign featuring Caitlin Clark has been a huge success. It's lighthearted, fun, and captures Caitlin's charm and competitiveness perfectly. The ad features Caitlin in various scenarios, from playing golf to attending a basketball game, making her the hero of the narrative. State Farm has nailed it by showcasing Caitlin's personality and relatability while highlighting her incredible talent. Fans loved it, and social media buzzed with praise. This is exactly how you market a player through storytelling, relatability, and creativity. State Farm gets it, and they've built a campaign around Caitlin that resonates with fans and draws attention to her marketability. Meanwhile, Nike seems content to let Caitlin's story fade into the background. Their approach feels out of touch, failing to recognize the magnitude of what Caitlin represents. She's not just a basketball player, she's a cultural icon in the making, someone who has the potential to change the way people view women's sports forever. Nike needs to stop playing it safe. They need to recognize that Caitlin is a movement, not just an athlete. This isn't just about a shoe deal. This is about the future of women's basketball. Caitlin Clark represents everything that the WNBA needs to keep growing: excitement, new audiences, and a fresh narrative that fans can rally behind. Yet Nike seems to be letting this opportunity slip away, all while their competitors are moving in to fill the gap. Nike's failure to elevate Caitlin Clark to the level she deserves could be a huge mistake. As other brands like State Farm continue to recognize her potential, Nike risks falling behind in the women's sports marketing space. Caitlin is a once-in-a-generation athlete Nike can't afford to keep missing the boat. They have the opportunity to build something extraordinary, but only if they stop playing it safe and start backing the athletes who are changing the game. Caitlin Clark's rise in the world of basketball is a revolution in the making. She has the talent, the charisma, and the marketability to take women's basketball to new heights. But for that to happen, Nike needs to step up and make her the icon she deserves to be. The clock is ticking, and if Nike doesn't act soon, they could miss out on one of the most exciting opportunities in sports marketing history. Will Nike finally step up and lead the charge, or will they let another brand take the spotlight? The next move could define both Caitlin Clark's legacy and Nike's standing in the world of women's sports. The question is, are they ready to make it?